When you're buying a new home, do not go to the construction site without representation. Those builder reps, they're there to represent the builder, not you. Today we're going to talk about new construction and navigating the process so you get the best deal possible. Hi, I'm Teresa McCormick and this is Living in Las Vegas. Today we're doing something a little different. We're just going to have a little candid conversation about what it's like to have an agent advocate for you in a new construction site. Take a listen. I think you'll get some valuable tips. Okay, so most of the time when I'm sitting with a client across from the builder rep, they're not a tenured agent. That means they don't have a lot of experience. They don't know what closing costs are. And so my client is trying to make, educated financial choices without having all the information. That's what I do. I give them a list of how much the fees are actually going to be. So if the builder is saying, hey, I'm going to give you this much closing cost contribution, the buyer wants to know if they're actually covering it or how much they're going to have to bring in down the road. I'm there to make sure there's no surprises down the road. That's what my purpose. The big nightmare scenario, what really upsets people is when they get down to 6 to 9 months down the road, they have to come out of $20,000 out of their pocket and they weren't expecting it. If you're expecting that you're going to have to come up with, let's say, $15,000 and all of a sudden you're supposed to come up with $35,000, are you going to be mad? Sure, you are. Yeah. Now we're gonna actually figure out what their closing costs are going to be. What charges the lender is going to charge if they're doing a loan. Is there going to be a loan origination fee or is that going to be waived? Title fees are going to be, the HOA's fees are going to be. Is the builder going to pay for the owner's title policy and the transfer tax? Probably not. I find that most builders don't negotiate a lot on the actual price of the house, but they're more willing to negotiate on closing costs and on builder upgrades. You absolutely should have an inspection. It'll give you peace of mind. The truth of the matter is the builder has to go get inspections from the city. So along the way, if they don't pass their inspection, they're not going to be able to get a certificate of occupancy for the house. And so they're not going to be able to sell it to you. So there's some peace of mind in that. But an inspection does a lot of things. In the end, there's a lot of little small details when you're doing the walkthrough. I think people tend to pay attention to paint. Really, they should be concerned about, do the windows work? A lot of times when I'm walking the house, I'm opening and closing every single window. I'm looking to see whether or not that we're leaking underneath the sink. But an inspector will take that a step further. If there's a leak somewhere, they can use their thermal guns and see. If there's not enough range between the variant between the air conditioner and the intake and outtake vents, they'll let you know. You can hit that up front and not have to get that done later after the fact. We've done a house where the builder completely forgot to put in insulation. Okay, contracts are complicated with a builder. They're like umpteen pages and they want you to sign right away. Having an advocate there going through the contract with you gives you peace of mind. It lets you know when you have to perform. It lets you know what your contingencies are. When is your loan due? When do you have to have your funds by? The timeline and when you have to perform. If you can't perform for some reason, there's a deadline for that. If it's 30 days or 90 days, depending on the contract, you need to know that up front. Because, if it's 30 days, on the 29th day, you can cancel and get your earnest money back. Okay, it's really helpful when you have somebody that's done a bunch of rehabs that really knows how much things cost. Because when you're sitting there and you're not used to doing any of that and you have no idea how much something costs. Yeah, and they'll say something like, okay, well, it's only going to be 50 cents more on your payment, but if you do that 1,000 times, that's $50,000. I mean, it makes a huge difference on what your payment's going to be. So just having somebody there with some clear guidance and saying, okay, you can do this after the fact. It would be cheaper, more cost effective, more selections. Having somebody there through that process as well just gives you peace of mind and it helps you get the best deal. It really does. The other thing is when builders are offering this, I'm still going to ask for this. Sometimes buyers are tentative. They don't feel like, they can advocate for themselves. Having somebody there saying, Well, no, hold on. I think I can get you this. Let's just go for it. What if they say no? No big deal. Won't hurt my feelings. But I'm going to ask. I'm going to be sitting there saying, yeah, I know you gave us this and this, but I'm going to give you this. I'm going to ask for this and this too. People get caught up in the moment, and they really need to step back sometime, or have somebody say, okay, let's take a pause for a second. Let's make some educated choices on what we're going to do. We don't have to buy every single structural option. We don't need to get there with the pretty people at all the pretty items and buy everything in the new sales center. It's someone saying, okay, let's be strategic. Let's get a budget. What are our non-negotiables? What do we really want? And then stay within that budget. So I hope you liked that candid conversation. If you're looking for new construction, you're thinking about doing a new build, I wanted you to feel like you can reach out to me and just have some direct responses without being sold something. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, hit the bell. You can be the first to know of anything else that we do about living in Las Vegas.